Good afternoon and welcome to the European, actually meant the FX Daily Wrap Up. We're seeing a relatively quiet day, but although we have seen the euro pair back on the Bosch chart support, we actually have the support coming in lower, but in the chat room we talked about 1139 being key in a bounceable area, but didn't quite make it to 1139. You can see here we're looking here at 919. That's where the essentially the rubber meets the road here. The same thing on 1020. But we did talk about here in the chat room looking for a bounceable rally from right here. Maybe not a rally, but bounceable pop from 940. We didn't quite make it. Looks like we've made it here to about what, 45. We're kind of moving up just a hair bit. And we'll take a look here at the euro. Like I said, it's been relatively quiet in FX land. Have some other markets are moving a bit. You can see the importance here, and on the bias chart we have 1020, and you can see the significance of 1020. You can see this horizontal resistance coming across. If we can get past 1020, it's key because we would also break this downtrend line. So it's huge if they can get beyond that. And our take was, hey, look, we can bebop around, in between, and we're closer to the upper end of the range. But we said, hey, look, until you get past 1020, doesn't mean anything. And that's on a closing basis. And the same thing, we said we could dip, but the real area for this market to hold is 919. Although, I think we were trading in the 60s at the time. And say, hey, look, look for this market to find, potentially dip to 939. Should be a bounceable area. Hasn't quite made to 939, made to 945, but I mean, from there we've pulled off what, I guess 20 pips right now so far. When we were talking about it here in the chat room, as we were starting to challenge this area here right around this 966. Cable, though, on the other hand, is working lower. Certainly, Brexit rules the day, and or Brexit-related news, and despite the talk that, oh, nothing's going to happen or they'll try and work it out, it certainly doesn't look that way. And that's certainly the risk as we get towards the end of the month, Halloween Day, that, hey, Brexit. Saw something on Twitter where Johnson said back in June, it was 1,000,000 to 1 that they would, not come up with something. Obviously, looking like that 1,000,000 to 1 is about ready to pay out. At least where we stand right now. So you can certainly continue to see the weakness. Now, we've been contained over the last week, but we're starting to see additional pressure come in here with the cable. Dollar yen had started to react a little bit yesterday. We finally got a little bit of a follow through, but then there was talk about with the U.S.-China talk, said China was going to looking at a more narrow, I don't know if you want to call it a narrow agenda. But it certainly put a damper on pressure, and also there was the story about blacklisting some China stocks over the issue with also those of the Muslim faith, actions being taken against or oppression against those individuals. There was a video out. There was a disturbing video. So that has certainly turned things weaker, and we've also seen the S&Ps, come off from their better levels yesterday. Dollar CAD is still pushing up in here. We'll take a look at the dollar CAD on a daily, but the real key resistance here, pull up the daily, you can see here is clearly 33.36. We saw that fantastic turnaround last week. As you can see here, the market was making multiple stabs up and, was not able to do anything with it. We just kept finishing towards the lows, and we made one more last run up here, and then we just kind of started to slide back and look like we were going to break 132. And then come Wednesday, boy, did we flip things around in a big way. That being said, we have not been able to take out 33.36 on a closing basis. Now, our bias chart resistance is 33.82. It is been a key resistance level in the past, but you can see the asterisks here. So, if we can get a close above 33.36, that's henceforth the asterisks on the close would be huge. That would open up the door for another leg up, if nothing else, just from the technicals, because anybody that's short or still clinging onto the shorts would have to basically just say, throw in the towel on a daily close above 33.36, which should open the door for us potentially to get just a little bit beyond here, 35, open the door to potentially 35.20. Dollar index, we've come a little bit off those lows, but nothing of any real significance yet. We're looking here, if you look on the bias chart resistance here, we've got 99.30. We've made a stab up in here, but not quite taking it down. And we did move our bias chart support here a little bit higher, up to 98.46. But you can see we're in a well-defined range here. This is on the 2-hour chart on the cash dollar index here. Peso did finally start to wake up a bit here on the dollar peso. We actually had our bias chart resistance. Excuse me. Still got a little bit left of the cold from last week. At 1961, looks like today's high was what, 1963. We'll take a look at that. And really need to hold this 1947 here, and we've managed to do that here on the peso. So we had resistance at 1961. We've made it up to, excuse me, apologize, at 63.2. And sorry about that. Pretty much over the call is just that I still have a dry throat. So sorry about that. We'll go and take a quick look at the cross rates. And just like in the majors, I mean, things are relatively quiet. You can see here with Aussie yen, we did want to jump up above the bias chart resistance, but we've paired back, obviously, with the weakness that we'd seen in equities. And we'll take a quick look at that. Now, looking here on the guppy, we've certainly pulled back here. And really the door's open potentially that we come into the 61%. You can see right in here. We're looking at the 2-hour chart. And there's some support here. You can see here the market's kind of holding it. But there's still a lot more volume coming down here to where this 61% would be, and or is, which will come in right at the 130 level. And there's a potential we can still move a little bit lower. Certainly the weakness in sterling with the Brexit news has really opened the door for us to continue to move a little bit later. I meant to say a little bit lower, I should say. We're also seeing crude oil working here. I'll go and touch base on those. We're going to move into those. Let's go move into those. We're coming into a level that I was already just talking about in the chat room. And interesting thoughts here on crude here. You can see, I was just saying in the chat room, we've got support here at 52.02. I picked it up at 21 earlier and just spun out for a big whopping 7 ticks. But the reason is I'll give you a little bit of background on this here. We know that crude's been weaker, and we're actually looking at a 30-minute here. And you can see the significance here. Let's go move this on a 2-hour chart. You can see a little bit better. The significance of this 51.98 coming in right here, okay? And my thought being is, look how far we've fallen back. You can see here, just below this 50.98. To me, to what I was looking at 51.98 is like, look, you know, you're looking at about just below that, a risk of about $1. I think no more than that. But you can see how far this market has fallen back. I was telling those in the chat room, hey, look, I think this market is sold out. There is, we'll go into the 30-minute, some additional support here at 51.46. Now, we did come down here below the 51.98. We kind of poked our heads a little bit. But I said, you know, hey, I think the market is sold out. I was actually looking, potentially there was in between there was 51.64 or 51.62. I was looking to work a bit at that point. And I thought we might get one more quick dip back. So one of the things we looked at as we come back, I was looking up here. Well, I said, hey, look, you know, it's going to be important if we can get a 30-minute close above 52.53, which we did. Okay, you can see here, right there. And one of the things that was concerning is I thought we should be rallying. You know, I thought, okay, look, they're oversold, but, you know, we're not getting any momentum, but we'll get the first signs of momentum if we can get a 30-minute close about 52.53. And we were teasing it right there, just coming back down to 40, up to 53, then back down to 40, and pretty much stayed around there. And going to the last, at the last of the 30-minute bar, we finally jumped up and we got that close. I think it was 52.57. So, hey, look, now I want to go in and be able to buy dips. And as we were kind of sitting there, and I thought, hey, look, I'm going to work a bit at 52.51. 52.21. We got down there and I go, okay, let's give it a chance, and we just kind of sat there, not doing a whole bunch of nothing, on this thing, and sitting there, you know what, enough of this, I'm just going to spin out of this thing. I don't mind giving it a chance, but holy smokes, we should have seen something there. Now I'm looking at it from a day trade scalp standpoint. Obviously, there's nothing really happening here in crude. We're not really moving around a whole lot. But then I noted here in the room after I spun out, I said, hey, look, we got a little gravestone doji, which isn't a whole lot because it's not like as if it's after a rally. But I thought, hey, look, there's still the potential here, despite where it's at, for us just to ease back, or I think I said slide back. So we kind of sat here, but I was looking for here at 52.02, the market to go in and come back. I think that'll be a good area right here. But even then, the low so far has been 52.07, so not too bad, off a nickel. But I thought we might kind of slide down, then we'll see it bounce back. But we're really not really doing anything. We're just kind of going, they're just kind of working the, I don't know when you say they're working the bids in the office, it's just very, very quiet activity. There's nothing happening there. So, if you're short, I definitely would be looking to cover at 52. Well, I was going to say 54.5, and we already got there right now. Let me see right here, just to the low was 52.07. So if you get the 5, I would definitely go in and take it. I thought when we got up here, I thought we might make a maybe not a quick move, but I thought we made a steady move down here to 02, and I wanted to pick it up. At this point, I just don't really see anything happening here. We just don't have any momentum. The next key thing was here on gold, and this is very interesting because we talked about this since Friday, and I thought I was looking for a big move in gold. I remember talking about in chat room. I think I did mention it here. Sorry about that. And I thought that would happen on Friday. It actually happened on Thursday, which really took off. And I was talking about it getting them to 1527/34 in the December futures. And we made it here. I think we made it to right up to 27. And then we kind of, basically that was the end of that. So here comes Friday, and I thought, hey, this is open to set itself up, potentially for a move a little bit lower. I thought we might get down to about 1483 or 1482, so 80, something like that. Maybe it's probably here, this 82. Well, we only made it down to 87. We started to work higher, and they started rallying back up. They actually run out of gas around either 61%. And I'm saying, well, look, if we can get a 30-minute close just above, 650, that will, open the door potentially for us to move higher. Because you can see right here, this was going to take out the previous, you see right there, take out these previous closes, and even basically almost even the highs. And we did get that. And then look, we've turned around and given all that back. So my take was, hey, if we get a 30-minute close below of, I think it's 1501.50, which it looks like we did get that. Now everybody, those that had I want to say weak shorts, but had their stops, they got stopped out. And anybody that said, oh, wow, I'm thinking it's going to take a leg up, is now they're under pressure. So I think the door's open for us to come down to 1493, which is down here. And let me go on and which is 1493, which is going to translate to about 1498 in the D's futures. So, because really anybody, I don't think there's a whole lot of people that got stopped in on the long side, but it will open the door for a little bit of pressure and potentially get down here to about 1493 on the spot, 1498 on the D's futures, which are trading at about a $5 premium now. So those are the two markets that to me have stood out for different reasons. See here, crude oil. Like I said, if you get a nickel down here, 15,205, if you're short, I would definitely go in and take that. And S&Ps have come off. I think Steve had a great call yesterday on Face around this 2960 area, and boy, they've really come off. But there's not really a whole lot happening at this point. It's relatively quiet trading as we go into the U.S.-China trade talks, and they'll probably find one way or the other to spin a positive headline, which might allow this market to work up a little bit higher. That's about it here. Euro dollar, like I said, we're looking for a move potentially down here to 939. We've come as low as 945. Dollar index is still doing relatively well. Potentially we can squeeze up here to 99.40. So other than that, that's about it. It's relatively quiet trading. That's what we got for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Like I said, if you're with us on with ForexAnalytix, you can try it for I think it's 10 days. I believe it's 10 days for $1 and get a chance to go in and take a look and see what it's all about. And the strength of the chat room to me, which is the big thing that I think that has to offer, although we do offer different analysis disciplines, whether it's macro to basic technical to harmonics to Elliott wave. So, but once again, thank you very much for your time here. We're actually trying to leave a little bit of a balance here. Look here in crude oil here. So I was looking potentially at 52.02. Looks like we stopped at 52.07. We'll work a little bit hard, but that's what we have for today. And thanks for joining us here on the FX Daily Roundup.